contrarian approach today. You've been hearing about starting your own businesses and doing your own thing. I'm going to actually talk about working for other people and how that is no less entrepreneurial. And some of you might be saying, "Oh, Brandon, you're lying to me right now." But I'm not. I'm going to prove it, and I'm going to do it through the lens of my own career. I'm going to talk about what I've done and go into a little bit of depth about Brandon. It's always weird talking about someone with the same name. I'm going to talk about some things that Brandon spoke about and shed some light on it. And I'm going to do this in a couple of sections. I'm going to tell you a bit about myself. I'm going to tell you how to find value, and then I'm going to tell you how to apply it. So, the title of my presentation is Value Prop, Entrepreneur's Guide to Understanding and Applying Value. So, who is this guy? Kind of awkward because I'm wearing the same shirt. I wear a lot of jean shirts. So Harley yesterday talks about his black shirts. I've got jean shirts. At least I'm not wearing the same pants. So, who is this guy? This is my 11th year working in mobile. So, just to put that in context for you guys, back in 2005, people were still using flip phones, and for the most part, those flip phones were black and white. So, I am like an old grandfather at this point. I'm telling you guys, back when I was young, I was working with black and white phones. But, my career's evolved over the past 11 years, and I've done a bunch of stuff primarily involved in mobile. And Brandon was speaking about the adult industry before, and in the mid-2000s, adult content became available on mobile phones, and that's going to be a bit of the stuff to talk about. So, let me tell you about Brandon. Back in around 2005, I was in your position exactly. I was in university, or just about to graduate. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was working at a sports store in Montreal called Maison de Sport, and I was sharpening skates and selling bikes. And I was obsessed with my phone. Obsessed with my phone and texting, and I was always using it. I remember I always get shit for being on my phone. And this was a time where like ringtones and wallpaper were becoming popular. And I felt like it was an industry that I wanted to be part of. I knew nothing about technology. I was studying economics. I was studying a bunch of social sciences, and I couldn't program, that's for sure. I didn't know about quality assurance testing. I didn't know about engineering, nothing. But I had a family friend who ran the department of this company, and that family friend opened a door for me, and he gave me my first job as a QA tester. So I started testing video games on black and white phones and really shitty Samsungs and Sony Ericssons and all that. And I did that for a little while, and I got bored. I did that for about 2.5 years, and I wanted to do something that related a bit more to my degree. My degree was in economics. So I straight up asked someone in the business, not in the development section, but in the BI department, hey, let me transfer out of quality assurance and let me do research for you. I studied economics, I could totally do this. And the woman running the department, Anne, gave me a chance, and I did really well. And I did that for about 2.5 years. At that point, I noticed I was getting kind of bored again. And the problem with the research role was it was too much within the company. I had no ability to be outside of the company and talk to other people like customers or potential brands that we could work with. So I did the same thing again. I got to work with that, and I asked if I could be on the business side. That was stuff I really being extroverted and talking to people, talking about airborne and how much we could do for brands like the NFL, the NHL, and at 24-some years old, I found myself on phone calls with senior VPs at the NHL and NFL and Family Guy, completely out of my head, not really knowing what I was doing and kind of just figuring it out as I went along. But I ended up doing really well in that. And so around 2007, 2008 rolled around, and I'm sure you are all aware what happened in those years. The iPhone dropped. So working in mobile, and our business being so dependent on personalization products such as ringtones, wallpaper, MMS messages, and all that stuff, it was clear that when the iPhone dropped, those products were done for. The technology advanced so much that people didn't want want a Stewie ringtone anymore. You know, like, I mean, I'm sure if you all take out your phones, they're either on vibrate or on the ringer. You know, that market had gone away. And unfortunately, the guys who were running the company didn't believe in it. They thought it was a flash in the pan, and they didn't want to develop apps. This to me was a fundamental problem. I remember getting one of the first iPhones. Before they had them in Canada, I had one of the guys who worked at Airborne buy me an iPhone in New York and ship it to me. And then I did the whole unlocking thing, which completely broke the phone. But I remember opening the YouTube app and seeing a video for the first time on an iPhone. And it hit. Video was really going to be the next thing. And what industry has moved technology forward all the time? It's the adult industry. The reason VHS was picked up was because of the adult industry. The reason VR is going to become a really major product is because of the adult industry. People argue with me about this all the time, but I put good money on it. So in 2008, I believe it was, I started at Manwing. So Manwing is the largest adult entertainment company in the world. And I was brought on board to run products and build up a mobile strategy for Pornhub, Porn2, and a bunch of other mobile porn sites. Now, I remember interviewing for this job with a ton of trepidation. I had kind of gotten my degree from McGill, really shiny degree, and I was worried about how I would be perceived after this job. I thought about the idea of this sullying my reputation and kind of potentially ruining my career before the rocket even got off the ground. But I thought about it. Now, around 2008, 2009, what companies had as much digital traffic as porn sites? The only companies that had that were companies like Twitter or Facebook. So working in the adult industry was a way to be was a way to see levels of data like Brandon talked about before that no one else, pretty much in Canada and most of the United States, would be able to see. I would be able to test things. I would be able to get crazy amounts of experience and work with the most advanced technologies out there. You know, when I was brought on board, the company was around 100 to 110 people. At the time I left, we were over 1,000. So I spent 4 years at Manwing. And when I left, we were doing 20 million visits a day. So let's think about that number. There's about 30 some odd million people in Canada. So imagine 2/3 of the population of Canada coming to that website every day. We did $4.5 million in monthly revenue just on mobile. My group of around 40, we were up to 100 people based in 2 departments in mobile. But altogether, we did about $5 million a month in revenue. We had less than 1951. And this is all about the closing about. The average person is going to be about 10 to 200,000 people in their entire life. So just imagine that 20 million people actually is. It's insane. Now, I spent quite a bit of time in Manwing, 4 years. I was promoted several times. I started as a PM, and then I became director of product and built a team from 3 people to around 45. But again, I was getting bored. And I kind of needed to do something new. The worst thing you can do is become complacent in your job. It's really, really, really toxic, especially in your early 20s. You know, at 50 years old, I could have wrote it out. I got to travel the world. I made great amount of money. It was a really good gig, but I stopped learning. I became comfortable and bored, and everything came to a head on May 23rd, 2013. This is the text that changed it all for me. You guys can read it. My buddy Julian Smith, who was one of the co-founders of Breather, I had done some consulting work for him in the past while I was working in the adult industry, and him and I always had interesting conversations about the emotional aspects of the adult industry and all the testing and all the data and and all that fun stuff. And he sent me a text, I think it was like a Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, and funny story actually. So we had just deployed something to one of our servers, and we totally fucking broke something. And we were costing the company quite a bit of money in the hour and a half that everything was down. But to add insult to injury, someone called in a bump repair. So, working in the adult industry comes with a ton of perks, but it also comes with a crazy right-wing group of people who, call in bomb threats and like to ruin shit and scare people and get us all waiting in a parking lot for a couple hours so they can clear the building. So during that bomb threat, Julian sends me a text, and he basically goes to me like, "Hey man, I want you to do for me what you did for me." And he really hit me up at when I was at my kind of wit's end with the adult industry. I was just bored, like I was saying, and I needed something new. So May 24th, 3:55 p.m. is kind of when I made up my mind. I got that text and I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm doing it. So, Breather. We raised $27.5 million in VC funding. Our first round of funding was $1.5 million by Real Ventures. They believed in us first. They're a local Montreal venture capital firm, and they gave us our first $1 million bucks. Our Series A was led by RRE, and we did $6 million bucks. They invested in Vine, BuzzFeed, Bitly, and then our most recent round, which we did last year, was $20 million by Series B by Valor Ventures. So you don't know who Valor Ventures are. I'm sure you know who Peter Thiel is. It's Peter Thiel's international fund. And if you don't know who Peter Thiel is, he is one of the co-founders of PayPal and wrote the book 0 to 1, which I totally agree. So anecdotally, last time I did this conference was in 2014. Breather was 18 people. We were a small ragtag group of designers and engineers and product people and city people, and now we're over 100 people. I think we're actually 110 people right now. Breather allows you to access beautiful, private space where you can work, meet, and relax. And right now we've got over 100 locations. And actually I put this slide together last week and it's already updated. So we are live in NYC, SF, Boston, Montreal, Ottawa, LA, Toronto, and most recently Chicago. And we'll be opening up Washington DC, and London soon. So it's actually been a pretty crazy week for us at Breather. So these are some of our clients. Some of the world's most innovative and fast-moving companies actually use Breather because we love them that way. Dropbox, Facebook, BuzzFeed, Mailchimp, Twitch, Monocle, Airbnb, Stripe, and NetSuite, just to name a few. How does it work? It's actually really easy. You open the app, you find a space, you book it, and then you go, and you unlock it. All this can happen in under 30 seconds. Has anybody here tried Breather in Ottawa? Show of hands? Okay, so a few people. We've got cards that we're giving out for 3 hours, so there's my shameless plug for the day. If you'd like to try, come see me. And you'll unlock the door. So what do these places look like? So this is our 5-condition space in San Francisco. This is I believe one of our spaces in New York. I'm not 100% sure. This one is actually in Ottawa. Now, I am super proud of this space for the following reasons. So I'm sure you guys are aware Justin Trudeau became the Prime Minister of Canada. Not really under law. And how does that relate to him? So his wife, Sophia Gregor Trudeau, actually shot her Chatelaine magazine cover and cover story in our Breather around the block from here. This really meant a lot to me when it happened. We've had other celebrities use Breather, but this one really resonated. And, Justin Trudeau being elected to office was a really big thing for millennials and older people alike. And just the fact that the Prime Minister's wife and our First Lady got to use Breather was really a rewarding thing from it. So, you know a little bit about me. Talk about the adult industry, and if you guys have any questions about it, you can ask me after this presentation, not specifically about that, but there's always someone with a really weird question that I answer after. So if you're too shy to ask the question about the adult industry, come see me. So, understanding government. Why is my presentation today talking about it? It's actually the thing that a lot of entrepreneurs don't really think about. So value is actually the basis for any business. What are you doing to solve someone problem? A lot of other presentations talk about problem solving and how important it is for you to offer value to your customers. What's Green doing? Well, let's look at our competition. You've got co-working spaces, you've got shared desk office rentals, you've got coffee shops, you've got hotels. Breather is on demand, it's private, it's cost effective, it's a consistent user experience, it's multifunctional, and it's quiet. The most important thing on that chart is actually the consistent user experience. So if you look at our competition, ShareDesk, Liquid Space, and all these guys, the reason they're not as successful as we are, and the reason that we've been able to raise the most funding in this industry is that when you walk into a Starbucks, when you walk into a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons or anything like that, you know what to expect. That burger tastes the same, that latte tastes the same, and there's no cognitive load. It's zero friction. You know exactly what you're going to get. Now, imagine, some of you are starting your own businesses, and obviously you can't afford your own offices. Like, where are you going to have a client meeting? Are you going to invite them over to your parents' house, or like your dorm? Are you going to go to Starbucks and wrestle someone for a plug? Are you going to go to a library where someone's going to tell you to shut up? No. Are you going to go to a hotel where there's an awkward bed in the room? Like, can you explain that to someone who got that? You're like, hey, there's a bed here. So we offer value across all of those dimensions. And if you look at all the check marks of co-working spaces, shared desks, coffee shops, they check off only a few. And the fact that we allow you to do that without having to talk to an annoying person on the other end of the phone and just unlock the door with the phone is real value. We are solving a fundamental problem for people. Many entrepreneurs don't think in terms of value. And there's a reason why I put entrepreneurs in quotation marks. This is a question I get a lot. And the reason I put entrepreneurs in question marks is like the whole idea of being an entrepreneur has been flipped on its head in the past, let's say 10 years. People aren't thinking in terms of value. I get so many emails from students where they don't even talk about the idea that they want to build. They just ask me this question: should I create my own startup or work for someone else? That's the wrong question. You're jumping to an answer without understanding the problem. So let me go back for a second. You're basically writing a conclusion for a story that hasn't been written. Okay? You need to understand the problem before jumping to the answer. And sometimes the answer isn't starting your own company. So, how can I create the most value? Let's unpack it. You gotta take a small step back, and you gotta ask yourself, what am I good at? What is my value? So, this takes personal honesty, and I'll talk about mine on the fire here, because it's like, it's fine. You need to be super honest with yourself. So let me tell you a story. Before I left Manly, I was there for a couple years, like I was saying, and I was feeling a little unfulfilled, and I had this itch. I wanted to start my own business. That was it. I didn't have an idea to start a business. I didn't know what business or what to work on. I just wanted to start my own business. So I started thinking, well, how do I come up with an idea for a business? I was like, oh, you know what I need to do? I need to get an MBA. That's how I'm going to get an idea for a business. I wasn't really good at finance. And I thought that to run my own business and to come up with an idea, I actually had to go and get a degree. And in fact, doing that was completely the wrong approach. And it took a really long, kind of sobering discussion with myself. And like, well, why do I want to do this? Asking myself, well, why do I want to start my own business? And it was just about the fact that I was unfulfilled in my current job. And I was looking to fix things that I wasn't really good at. I was looking to play to my weaknesses and not really looking at my strengths. So, your shit is weak. Be honest. You need to stop hedging against your weaknesses and be great at what you're good at. So, here's an example. I love punk rock. I am a good drummer. I am a terrible singer. I can belt as much as I want in the car. As much as I try, I will never be a good singer. I can sing for you now. I was really terrible at finance. And I thought that to be good at business, I need to go get this like formal finance degree and that would solve all my problems. And it was actually totally bullshit. I needed to double down on the things I was good at and to be great at. So, just because you're entrepreneurial doesn't mean the biggest reward will come from building your own business. So, what do I mean by that? I knew I was good at these things. Negotiating, brand building, team building, product strategy, and understanding good design. I wasn't the idea man, and there's no shame in that. But all of these things within a small or large organization can be deemed entrepreneurial. So, how did I get good at these 5 things? I actually worked for someone else and got my chops doing a lot of things on someone else's dime and working for them and really figuring out what I was amazing at. So at Airborne, I was there for about 4.5 years, and there I really learned about deal, technology, and the brand. So when I was in my QA role, I really learned about how technology interfaces with product and design. I learned about technology in ways that can solve problems in really, really cool ways. And the most important thing I learned about was actually the brand and how important branding was. Up until this point, I just didn't understand why people didn't just license out the NFL for pretty much anything out there. And the reason is that these brands are trying to vigorously protect their interests. And they do that by having rigorous approval processes, and that's how they maintain the quality. When I was at Manlin, I learned how to build a product that gets people to spend a lot of money. A lot of money. I learned a lot more about negotiation. I learned a ton about team building. I learned about product strategy. I learned about design. I learned about analytics. It's pretty amazing when you change a category thumb on an adult site and you realize that change in a category thumbnail increases revenue by $120,000 a month. That small little thing, because you're playing to emotion. When people come to adult sites, it is the most raw emotional thing that person is probably going to do during that day. It's visceral, it's primal. It's something that's never going to go away. From 10,000 years ago, cave paintings on the wall that were naked people. You know what I mean? This is just a medium. And I was able to leverage all these things, and even though I don't work in adults anymore, understanding human emotion allows me to do my job much better now. So, Sam Altman tweeted this, and he's like, if you haven't accomplished in your 2026, some amazing, you can read that. You can read it. This is really important. Brian Chesky, Mark Zuckerberg, all these guys didn't start a business just to start a business. They had a very clear vision on how they would change how people vacation or how people would change the way they communicate. It's okay if you haven't done something amazing by this age or in the next couple of years. There's no shame in it. Your ability to continue to make yourself better and be great at what you're currently good at will help you get to a successful point in your career. So, how do you apply that? I'm going to talk about breather and how breathers will apply that. How do I apply that? You need to find a company whose ethos aligns with yours. Okay? So, how do you do that? In my case, I found Julian and Kat. Julian and Kat are the 2 co-founders for Breather, and I was the first employee. I knew that if I could find people whose skill set complemented mine, we could do amazing things together. Julian is great at vision and understanding where the company needs to be in X amount of time. Katarina was unbelievable at design. You know, Julian always jokes that if we were just a bunch of dudes without Katarina, you know, we would have put IKEA furniture in the room and we wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are today. So, if you're good at business, but have no design sense, you can't teach yourself design sense. You can kind of start to understand what good design is, but you need raw talent to be able to design. You know, the same thing is like if you consider yourself good at drawing. You know, some people just can't draw, but they're amazing in that. You need to be able to find people who complement your strengths. And forget about your weaknesses. Throw it out the window. Peter Thiel actually talks about this in 0 to 1, about how, you know, a small group of people coming together can do a lot bigger and more important things than just being that one person alone and starting a company. So, how do you find a company whose ethos matches yours? It's actually really not that hard. You speak with current and former employees. There's Glassdoor, there's Quora, and then you can come to events like these and talk to me. That's what I'm here. If you can't do this research, you probably shouldn't be working for someone or working in tech. But it's really important that you go out and you look at, you know, at companies that match what you want to do. You know, if you're going to work at Airbnb, you need to be passionate about building a product that allows people to vacation easier. You know, if you start a breather, you need to be passionate about democratizing space for people and unlocking space and democratizing. So, what do we look for when we hire a breather? Contribution. Contribution is pretty basic. Are you a floater, or are you someone who's going to come in and do something? You know, the expression that we like to use a lot of breathers, like a basketball gets thrown in the middle of the room, who's going to be the first person to jump on it? In the early days of Breather, we all did things that weren't our job. We all cleaned our rooms after our customers. What that allowed us to do was become closer and closer and closer to the end user. I think you know, the CEO of Bill Simple was talking about having his employees on customer service calls, really understanding the end user. You know, what we do to ensure that at Breather is we have our CS rep or a representative from every department talk about the contribution of their department, about what they're doing, about what insights they have about speed. So at Breather we call this violent execution. The ability to get an idea from a piece of paper into development unbelievably quickly. Service. Our motto at Breather is treat everybody like it's their birthday. My greatest pleasure at Breather is seeing customer service resolve an issue that one of our customers had. They can call in and they can be really, really upset. But you talk to Audrey, Gio, Richard, any of our customer service reps, a lot of our customers are on a one-on-one relationship with our customer service reps. I know them and talk to the same ones. If they call, if there's an issue with the Wi-Fi, if there's an issue with opening the door, we ensure that the issue is resolved right away, and we treat people with the most utmost respect. You'd be surprised how you can take a bad situation and flip it around unbelievably quickly with good service. Independence. The ability to do something without relying on someone else. Very important. Humility. We celebrate our wins, but we don't rest on our laurels. It's good, you gotta celebrate it, and then on to the next thing. Ambition. Wanting to make an impact. You know, people think that as you get venture funding, it gets easier. It actually gets harder. You're more on the map. People know about you. People start competing with you. You need to stay hungry. We pretend that money isn't in the bank. We pretend that we're always on a short run, and we never, ever, ever stay complacent. Empathy. Understanding what the person next to you is feeling, and not being addicted. Now, you might think that this kind of goes against the last aspect for our ethos, which is frankness. But I believe the group of people Lee was actually talking about this before. It was about unearthing conflict. You cannot build good product unless you're arguing about it. Because what happens is like, you know, it's like, well, what do you think of this done? It's like, oh, it's okay. I guess we can go with that, without really questioning if it's the right way to go. You need to be able to ask the hard questions, and you need to be able to push back against people in the office. You need to do it in a respectful way. And if someone's not pulling your way, you need to be upfront and honest about it. And the reason we have such a low attrition rate over here is because we enforce these vigorously. And by the time you've interviewed the fourth or fifth person in Breather, we know if you'll fill out these eight patterns. This is part of every employee's day-to-day review. And if you notice, all these are necessary to be a great entrepreneur. Here, go back. I don't think you can argue that any of these aren't required to be an amazing entrepreneur. The best startups in the world want their employees to be entrepreneurial. We have a bunch of founders that work for us, people who are former consultants who are making a lot more money doing their own thing, but they believe in the vision at Breather. They believe in what we're trying to do. They believe in how we're trying to, change the world and democratize space. Office buildings are the most inefficient assets besides cars. They sit empty for hours a day. Do some research. You're going to notice a pattern when you're looking at really successful companies like Uber, like Airbnb, Facebook. I wrote a blog post called "Smooth Seas Don't Make Good Sailors," and I talk about each one of these in depth. Entrepreneurs understand how to create value. They understand how to create value for their business, their employees, and their customers. They punch above their weight. If you take a job or you are embarking on something that you feel prepared for, you shouldn't take that job. Any job that I have taken or any work that I've ever done, I've always felt in over my head. And that feeling of being in over your head and uncomfortable and uneasy is the thing that will motivate you the most. You need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. They take risk. They don't gamble, but they take risk. And there's a very, 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 very big difference between gambling and taking risk. When you take risk, the risk to grow, you're putting all your money into building the company again, building the company again, building the company again, is better than going to the casino and putting it on. They're two different things. They understand the limit of their resources. So they're optimistic, they're realistic, they're not insane. They're not myopic about their resources. They understand that they can only be stretched so far, and that's money, that's people, that's time. They understand the consequence for their actions. They understand that if you do A, you could break B and C down the road. But they take a lot of risk, and they take ownership. So we break a lot of things at Reti. We implement features that fail. We do experiments that don't work well, but that's okay. The only way you're going to learn is by taking these risks and experimenting with the product. And at the end of the day, if they fail, it's on me, and I own them. But that's okay, because if you're not taking these risks, you're not going to be able to move your business forward. So I'm fulfilled because I work with a group of people who see the world the way I do. Not because I started my own business. And don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting your own business and being entrepreneurial. But what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that just because you work for or with someone else doesn't make you less entrepreneurial. Together, we are creating a lot more value than I could have on my own. And this brings me back to the 0 to 1 thing I was talking about with Peter Thiel. And he talks about this extensively as well. This is the Breather team, the Breather dogs. It's Charlie and Henry in the front. And there's Merle in the top of the corner. And we took this picture right before the holidays. That's not even, we're like 25 people picture than that now. That was a couple of months old. But without these people, I am nothing. And that's it. And the thing that I remind myself, the thing that gets me out of bed every day, is that I know that we're delivering unbelievable value to our customers and to the people that we work with. That's it. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer anything you want to know.
claim I am too reckless. I'm not trying to go in that direction. These they've been doing too much flexing, and they about to call the wrong attention.